In the 1950s, America was a nation grappling with the complexities of race and identity. The Jim Crow laws enforced racial segregation in many southern states, creating a society where the color of one's skin dictated social status, rights, and even the most personal aspects of life, such as love and marriage. In Virginia, the anti-miscegenation laws were particularly harsh, making it illegal for interracial couples to marry. Yet, amidst this backdrop of division and discrimination, a love story was unfolding that would challenge the very foundations of these unjust laws. Richard Loving, a white man, and Mildred Jeter, a black woman, grew up in Caroline County, Virginia, a place steeped in tradition and racial segregation. Their paths crossed in the early 1960s, and what began as a friendship blossomed into a deep and abiding love. Despite the societal norms that dictated who could love whom, Richard and Mildred found solace in each other, dreaming of a future together. As their relationship deepened, the couple faced the harsh realities of living in a society that deemed their love unacceptable. They were acutely aware of the risks involved in their relationship, but their love was stronger than the fear of societal backlash. In 1958, they made the decision to marry, believing that their love could transcend the barriers imposed by race. Determined to solidify their bond, Richard and Mildred traveled to Washington, D.C., where interracial marriage was legal. On June 2, 1958, they exchanged vows in a small ceremony filled with hope and joy. Surrounded by a few close friends, they celebrated their union, a moment that felt both triumphant and bittersweet. However, their happiness was short-lived. Upon returning to Virginia, they were met with hostility and legal repercussions. Just a few weeks after their wedding, the Lovings were arrested in the early hours of the morning. Police officers burst into their home, armed with a warrant, and charged them with violating Virginia's anti-miscegenation laws. The couple was taken into custody, and their lives were turned upside down. The arrest was a stark reminder of the societal forces that sought to tear them apart, and it marked the beginning of a legal battle that would change the course of history. Facing the prospect of a year in prison, the Lovings were determined to fight back. They enlisted the help of the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, which recognized the significance of their case. The Lovings' legal team, led by attorney Bernard Cohen, began to prepare for a fight that would challenge the constitutionality of Virginia's laws. As the case progressed, the Lovings became symbols of resistance against the oppressive laws that sought to dictate who could love whom. Their story resonated with many as it highlighted the absurdity of laws that prohibited love based on race. The Lovings were not just fighting for their own right to be together, they were standing up for the rights of countless others who had been silenced by discrimination. As the Lovings prepared to take their case to court, they understood the stakes involved. Their love story had become a beacon of hope for those who believed in equality and justice. The fight for their right to marry was not just a personal battle, it was a challenge to a system that sought to uphold racial divisions. The stage was set for a legal showdown that would ultimately redefine the meaning of love and equality in America. As the Lovings faced the daunting reality of their legal battle, they were acutely aware that their case was about more than just their marriage. It was about challenging a deeply entrenched system of racial discrimination. With the support of the ACLU, Richard and Mildred began to prepare for a fight that would take them all the way to the Supreme Court. Their attorney, Bernard Cohen, was passionate and determined, believing that the Lovings case could set a precedent for civil rights across the nation. Cohen meticulously gathered evidence, focusing on the unconstitutionality of Virginia's anti-miscegenation laws. He argued that these laws violated the equal protection and due process clauses of the 14th Amendment. The Lovings, who had been living in fear of arrest and persecution, found strength in their resolve to challenge the status quo. They were not just fighting for their love, they were fighting for the dignity and rights of all interracial couples. As news of the Lovings case spread, it ignited a firestorm of public interest and debate. Many in the civil rights community rallied around them, recognizing the significance of their struggle. Activists organized rallies and campaigns to raise awareness about the injustices faced by interracial couples. The Lovings became symbols of hope and resilience, inspiring others to speak out against the oppressive laws that govern their lives. However, not everyone was supportive. The Lovings faced backlash from those who believed that interracial marriage threatened the fabric of society. Hate mail and threats became a part of their daily lives, but Richard and Mildred remained steadfast in their commitment to each other and their cause. They understood that their fight was not just personal, it was a fight for the future of love and equality in America. In 1966, the Lovings case finally went to trial in Virginia. The courtroom was filled with tension as the couple faced a judge who had the power to determine their fate. The prosecution argued that the state had a legitimate interest in maintaining racial purity, citing outdated and discredited theories of eugenics. In stark contrast, Cohen presented a compelling case that highlighted the Lovings' love and commitment to one another, emphasizing that their marriage posed no threat to society. The trial was a pivotal moment, not just for the Lovings, but for the nation. As the couple sat hand in hand, they embodied the struggle for civil rights and the fight against systemic racism. The judge ultimately ruled against them, upholding the anti-miscegenation laws and sentencing them to a year in prison, which was suspended on the condition that they leave Virginia. Refusing to accept defeat, the Lovings took their case to the Virginia Supreme Court, which also ruled against them. Undeterred, they appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, where their case would be heard alongside other significant civil rights issues. The Lovings' story had captured the attention of the nation, and their case became a focal point in the broader struggle for equality. As the Supreme Court hearing approached, the Lovings remained hopeful. They were aware that their case could change the landscape of marriage and civil rights in America. The couple's unwavering love and commitment to one another served as a powerful reminder of the human spirit's resilience in the face of adversity. The Lovings' journey was far from over, but they had ignited a movement that would challenge the very foundations of racial discrimination. Their fight for justice was not just about their love, it was about the right to love freely, without fear of persecution. As they prepared for the Supreme Court's decision, Richard and Mildred knew that they were not just fighting for themselves, but for generations to come. The stage was set for a landmark ruling that would forever alter the course of American history. On April 10, 1967, the Lovings case was presented before the Supreme Court of the United States. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation as the justices prepared to hear arguments that could redefine marriage in America. Richard and Mildred sat in the courtroom, their hearts racing as they faced the highest court in the land. Their attorneys, Bernard Cohen and Philip Hirschkopf, passionately argued that Virginia's anti-miscegenation laws were unconstitutional, violating both the equal protection and due process clauses of the 14th Amendment. The justices listened intently as Cohen laid out the Lovings case, emphasizing the fundamental right to marry and the personal nature of love. He argued that the state's interest in regulating marriage based on race was rooted in outdated and discriminatory beliefs. The Lovings' love story, he asserted, was a testament to the idea that love knows no boundaries. After hearing the arguments, the justices deliberated on the case. Chief Justice Earl Warren, known for his commitment to civil rights, recognized the significance of the Lovings' struggle. He understood that the decision would not only impact the couple, but also set a precedent for future generations. The justices grappled with the implications of their ruling, aware that it could either uphold the status quo or challenge the systemic racism embedded in American law. On June 12, 1967, the Supreme Court issued a unanimous decision in favor of the Lovings. In a landmark ruling, Chief Justice Warren declared that state laws prohibiting interracial marriage were unconstitutional. He stated, "The freedom to marry has long been recognized as one of the vital personal rights essential to the orderly pursuit of happiness by free men." The court concluded that the Virginia law was rooted in a desire to maintain white supremacy and that it violated the fundamental rights of individuals to choose whom they marry. The ruling in Loving v. Virginia was met with widespread celebration among civil rights advocates and supporters of equality. The decision effectively invalidated anti-miscegenation laws in 16 states, allowing interracial couples to marry without fear of legal repercussions. Richard and Mildred Loving became symbols of love and resilience, their story inspiring countless others to fight for their rights. However, the ruling also faced backlash from those who opposed interracial marriage. Some states and local jurisdictions resisted compliance, and the Lovings continued to face challenges in their personal lives. Despite the legal victory, the couple understood that societal attitudes would take time to change. The impact of Loving versus Virginia extended far beyond the couple's personal story. The ruling set a precedent for future cases related to marriage equality including the landmark decision in Obergefell versus Hodges, 2015, which recognized the right to marry for same-sex couples. The Lovings case became a cornerstone in the ongoing struggle for civil rights, illustrating the power of love to transcend barriers and challenge injustice. The Lovings' journey from a small town in Virginia to the halls of the Supreme Court was a testament to their unwavering commitment to each other and their belief in justice. Their victory was not just a personal triumph, it was a pivotal moment in American history that reshaped the landscape of marriage and civil rights. As they returned to their home, Richard and Mildred knew that their love had changed the world, paving the way for future generations to love freely and without fear. In the wake of the Supreme Court's historic decision, Richard and Mildred Loving returned to Virginia, where they hoped to live peacefully as a married couple. The ruling had invalidated the laws that had once threatened their love, but the couple quickly realized that the societal attitudes surrounding interracial marriage would take longer to change. While they were legally recognized as a married couple, they still faced the remnants of prejudice and discrimination in their community. Determined to create a life together, the Lovings focused on their family and their home. They welcomed children into their lives, nurturing a loving environment that reflected their commitment to one another. Their home became a sanctuary, a place where love transcended the barriers that had once sought to divide them. Richard and Mildred found joy in the simple moments of family life, cherishing the freedom to raise their children without the fear of legal repercussions. As their story gained national attention, the Lovings became reluctant symbols of the civil rights movement. They were often approached by journalists and activists eager to share their journey. While they preferred a quiet life, they understood the importance of their story in the broader fight for equality. Mildred, in particular, began to speak out about the challenges faced by interracial couples, advocating for love and acceptance in a society still grappling with racism. Despite their legal victory, the Lovings encountered ongoing challenges. They faced hostility from some neighbors and community members who were unwilling to accept their marriage. The couple remained resilient, drawing strength from their love and the support of friends and family. They understood that their fight was not just for themselves but for future generations who would seek the same freedom to love whomever they chose. As the years passed, the Loving story continued to resonate. Their case became a touchstone for discussions about marriage equality and civil rights. The Lovings' unwavering commitment to each other served as a powerful reminder that love knows no boundaries. Their journey inspired countless individuals to challenge societal norms and fight for their rights, reinforcing the idea that love is a fundamental human right. Richard and Mildred Loving's legacy extended far beyond their personal story. They became symbols of hope and resilience in the ongoing struggle for equality, reminding the world that love can conquer hate. As they navigated the complexities of life after the ruling, the Lovings remained steadfast in their belief that love should be celebrated, not condemned. Their journey was a testament to the enduring power of love and the importance of standing up for what is right, paving the way for a more inclusive future. The ruling in Loving versus Virginia marked a significant turning point in American society. It not only legalized interracial marriage, but also catalyzed a broader cultural shift towards acceptance and understanding of diverse relationships. As the nation began to grapple with the implications of the decision, conversations about race, love, and equality became more prevalent in public discourse. The Loving story inspired many to challenge their own biases and prejudices, fostering a climate of inclusivity. The Supreme Court's unanimous decision set a crucial legal precedent that would influence future cases related to marriage and civil rights. It laid the groundwork for subsequent rulings that expanded the definition of marriage and affirmed the rights of individuals to marry regardless of race or sexual orientation. The principles established in Loving versus Virginia were echoed in later landmark cases, including Obergefell versus Hodges, which recognized same-sex marriage as a constitutional right. In the years following the ruling, advocacy for interracial and same-sex marriage continued to grow. Organizations dedicated to civil rights and equality emerged, working tirelessly to ensure that the rights won in Loving versus Virginia were protected and expanded. The Loving's case became a rallying point for activists, who used their story to highlight the ongoing struggles faced by marginalized communities. As Richard and Mildred navigated their lives post-ruling, they often reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. They understood the weight of their legacy and the responsibility that came with it. Mildred, in particular, became an advocate for love and acceptance, sharing her story to inspire others. She emphasized that love should not be constrained by societal norms and that everyone deserves the right to marry the person they love. Despite the legal victory, the Lovings faced ongoing challenges in their personal lives. While many celebrated their marriage, others continued to harbor prejudice. The couple remained vigilant, understanding that societal change takes time. They continued to advocate for love and acceptance, hoping to inspire future generations to embrace diversity and reject discrimination. The impact of Loving versus Virginia extended far beyond the courtroom. It ignited a movement that challenged societal norms and reshaped the landscape of marriage in America. Richard and Mildred Loving's legacy became a beacon of hope for those fighting for equality, reminding the world that love transcends race and that everyone deserves the right to love freely. Their journey was a testament to the power of love and the importance of standing up for justice, paving the way for a more inclusive society.